Phil Mickelson off the best ever finish by a player over 50 at the Masters. He was tied for second with that final round 65. He turns 53 this Friday, trying to finish off that career Grand Slam, and he needs the U.S. Open to do it. If that happens, well then, get Scorsese on the phone and get busy. Mickelson in his 10th attempt to complete the career Grand Slam. So you don't really go back to some of those misses like what you think about Winged Foot, because he had yet to win the Open. That was at Muirfield in 2013. And don't forget, in 2013, just before he won at Muirfield, he kind of blew the U.S. Open at Merion. Has not had a whole lot to speak of in those 9 previous attempts trying to win the 4th. Worth considering, as we are near Hollywood, who plays Phil in the movie? As you look at number of attempts needed to complete the Slam, Hogan player, Nicholas Tiger, and Gene Sarazen. So we're talking about who plays Phil in the movie, or is it a series? I like Hugh Grant, someone like that, a bit on the rakish side. Certainly enough material isn't there. With more, let's go down to Todd Lewis.
Hi there, Rich. Well, Phil Mickelson is coming off that tie for second finish at Augusta National for the Masters. He has a lot of confidence right now, and he'd love to complete the career Grand Slam here in his home state of California. He's had an interesting preparation week here for the U.S. Open. He was on the grounds Saturday and Sunday playing practice rounds, but then went home to San Diego, which is about 2 to 3 hours away, depending on traffic. But he was there Monday and Tuesday and then came back today. Wednesday, he was on the golf course. He played a practice round alongside John Rahm. He went off the 10th hole, but as he was playing, he realized that, well, play was slow, and he got a bit frustrated, and he walked off the course after playing hole number 16. He then went to the player practice area where he hit a few more shots. He did not talk to the media today. He has not talked to the media over the weekend as well. I did ask Phil, though, on Sunday what he thought about LACC. He said, quote, "It's spectacular." And interestingly, just a few moments ago, Phil put something out on social media, and here's what he said. "LACC is one of the best courses in the world and is set up in spectacular fashion. This will be an exciting U.S. Open for both players and fans. I can't wait to get started." Rich?
All right, Todd, thank you. Jaime, where are you with Phil, just generally speaking right now?
Well, you know, I've often said that Phil's worst golf or bad golf is the worst golf ever played by a great player. But his, Phil kind of transcends form. He's so unpredictable, and he can call up this A game sometimes out of nowhere. It's part of his golf genius. He did it obviously at Kiowa in 2021. That came out of nowhere at almost age 51. He wins the major, first guy ever to win a major past the age of 50. And he did it 2 months ago at the Masters, finishing second with a closing 65. So he can pull these things out. Can he do it here at LACC? The fairways are wide. That helps him. Phil's still got his strength and speed for a certainly well-preserved 52. I think he's got a lot of motivation, obviously. 14 victories in California, 6 runner-ups in the U.S. Open. What's he lost? He's probably lost, I think, the ability to sustain concentration. He really has to work hard at that, which he did at Kiowa. He would go into those little kind of intentional trances, and he really did focus beautifully. And I think now with extra motivation to show that LIV is legit and all these things that he probably wants to, propagate, he did that at the Masters, I'm sure, in that Sunday round. I do think that this week, he came in early, and then he canceled that impromptu press conference, which, I think it shows, like, I didn't want to waste energy. That was kind of his reason. So I think he is focused. He wants to do something special here, and the Grand Slam lurks.
How's the fit here, LACC and Phil Mickelson, Brandel?
Look, I mean, power, again, it's so important here. Not that it's not important at Augusta National, but I think your institutional knowledge there can sort of trump the premium that it puts on power. If anybody showed that, it was Jack Nicklaus in '86, maybe Crenshaw about a decade later or so, and Phil Mickelson, I would say, because, it's a shortcut there, and he was almost dead last in driving distance. He was, towards the bottom of the field in driving distance at the PGA Championship. But there's one other thing at the PGA Championship. It's like those fairways are hard to hit. So it was hard for everybody to hit those fairways. But nobody missed them more often to the left there. And not that these fairways are plenty wide, but one place you can't really miss here is left. Certainly can on 2 or 3, or second shot on 8 or 12 or 14 or 16. And so he's had that propensity to miss it to the left. All that said, he remains one of the most captivating players to watch. You never know what he's going to do. His last 22 major championships, only 3 times has he finished in the top 20. They've been a win and a second and 18th.
Yeah,
so you just don't know what he's going to do. I said it earlier. It's like the fellow who's completely passed out, wakes up, recites the Gettysburg Address, and then goes back out and passes out. You just don't know what he's going to do or when he's going to do it, but it's likely to be brilliant. And when I first got here, I thought, this might fit him. The fairways are fabulously wide. But when you look a little closer, it's like you've just got to be so precise all the way around. And he's 52 years old. Yeah. I know he won at 50 and almost 51, but he's almost 53. He'll be 53 at the conclusion on Sunday. The odds are just getting more and more against him.
It's the longest shot, but how do we feel about him before Kiowa? That was just a complete out of nowhere.
Well, he was ranked 115th in the world when he won there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had a flourish of form around the time that he came second in the Masters. He played well in some live tournaments around that time as well. His form is not the same now. He doesn't seem to be playing as well. I think of Phil Mickelson, if he was, 10 years younger when he was in the middle of his career and really on his game, I think this is a test that would have suited him. I take the point about concentration. It's a good one, with all the stuff going on, and he is front and center. And, whether you love him or hate him, there's no doubt this guy is box office. Whether it's the controversy that he creates, the very, very strong opinions that he takes, how he doesn't care who he hurts in the way of getting where he wants to go. It's box office, and he creates a lot of controversy. He creates a lot of destruction in his wake. He seems to get where he wants to get in the end, always. And then you put on top of all of that a golfing genius. And I think it's fair to say that this guy is a golfing genius. I played against him in the Walker Cup in 1991. I played against him college golf over here before that. And this guy was always destined for something special. He had an arrogance about him, a confidence about him. He wasn't cultured as a golfer the way maybe Tiger was when he came out, you could see, and then Adam Scott, the way they played the game and the way they swung the club that you knew, and even Rory McIlroy, there was something about them. And he was uncultured, but he was a guy that got the job done. I think he's, what a career he's had, the success that he's had, and to win a major championship as formidable as he has. And one thing he hasn't lost, so you have to say, we saw it when he won the PGA, and we saw it when he got a stiff coming down the stretch at the Masters.
He can close.
He can close.
He has guts. Mickelson's always had guts on the golf course.